Coming up on Holy Hair.
You learn so much in school, but it's still like not even like a little bit of what you're gonna learn, like once you're like really hands-on. And I feel like just being a sponge, going in there with a good attitude, showing up. I feel like no one ever showed up at school.
And personality is half of
stylist.
Yes,
it
is.
It's
like 80%.
Yeah. And that's why people should never be worried about competition too, because there's so many hairdressers and you are going to attract the clients that your vibe attracts. And so it's like, this client may be right for that person, this one's right for you, and that's fine. So.
I never worry about competition. Every single person on the earth like gets their hair done.
Right?
I'm like, what's the competition? Like, I can't do everything's
There are
hair.
enough. Heads of hair.
Right? Like, there's enough heads of hair.
Yeah. If anything, like, you're trying to get rid of clients once you get too busy. You're like, hey, I'm good.
Like, please, now
we're. Can I train to
take over?
Yeah, to take over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's such a good point.
Let's go, let's lead, let's hit, let's go. Holy hair. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Welcome back to my channel, Holy Hair. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and let's get into this exciting collab video. So I took Jessi and Stu's blonding and business class. They actually came to my hometown to teach this class, which is just incredible. So I didn't have to travel for this. They teach classes all over America, really. I mean, honestly, they go to a lot of places. So check out their page on Instagram. They post on stories, all their classes. I think they have it all listed on their website as well. I will have all of their info linked in the description box, so be sure to check that out if you want to check out any of their stuff. So this class was a blonding in business. We learned a ton of highlighting techniques, coloring, root shadow, toning, formulas, and business. Jessi's dad actually manages their money for their salon business, and he is on their podcast, which is called Money with Michelle. He teaches a lot of business tips. So this was the portion of the class that I was taking a lot of notes because I need some help in the business department. I mean, let's be honest, we could all use some help with business tips. This is not easy, and it is not something that they taught us in school. So he talks a lot about managing your money, investing, and just all of the above, taxes, all that like not so fun stuff, but like need to know type thing. So that was a really interesting portion of the class. In addition to that, she also has her own extension line. So if you are looking for hair for extensions, I would highly recommend checking out the hair that she has. She has sourced incredibly high quality hair for a really good price, and she actually just came out with the J-Tide weft. So this is a weft that I got to feel and see and experience during the class. So she has all different types of hair on her website for sale, and she also gives a stylist discount for us hairstylists so that we can sell them to our clients in the salon, which is amazing. I actually really enjoyed taking their class. They were so down to earth. Everyone in the JZ fam was so kind and encouraging, and it was just such a positive learning environment. They made everyone feel comfortable to ask questions, and it was just such a great experience overall. I highly recommend taking one of their classes if they come into a town near you, or even if you have to travel. Don't forget it's a tax write-off. So I was DMing Stu prior to the class, and they kindly agreed to sit down with me and do a juicy Q&A for all of my YouTube family. So this one's for you guys. I really, really hope you enjoy this Q&A. It was so fun to film, and we just have lots of good advice. Honestly, if you're a hairstylist or you're starting out, or even if you've been doing hair for years, there's tons and tons of juicy and awesome advice in this video. So be sure to stay tuned for the entire thing.
Okay, good.
Alright,
Okay, let's do it.
some of the questions. How did you deal with the inconsistency in pay when building a clientele as a baby stylist?
Ooh. That's a good one. I feel like as far as like inconsistencies, do they just mean like not making as much or like charging differently for like different clients or?
Probably like if you don't have as many clients.
Oh, so not making as much one week and then, okay, yeah. I feel like the thing is you kind of have to go into the industry knowing that the first year or two you're building and you kind of have to put in that hard work by working more. It may be 5 days a week, 6 days a week, Saturdays, long nights, you know, like weekends. But when you do that, you're going to start making more money and you're putting in that hard work and it's going to pay off. Whereas when you get that steady clientele, it's going to all of a sudden flip where you can make your schedule and you're making more. But it's putting the work in, because if you sit there and you're like, I'm only going to work 2 days a week, but why am I not making money? That's why. So you have to put that hard work in the beginning.
It's always going to be different.
It's always gonna be different. I feel like that's the hard part with being a hairstylist is like I'm always like, because when like being 1099, like having paychecks, I'm like, but how much am I making? Like, I have no idea what I'm gonna make.
One month could be way better than the next month, you know? It's just you never know.
But the awesome thing is like if you flip it, it's like, oh, I want to buy something expensive, like I'll do an extra day of hair. And you can always make more money too.
Right.
I'll just do more hair this month. Like, it is kind of cool that we have like control of it once you get to that point.
That's the good thing about doing hair. Is like if we want to work 5 days a week, we can make more money. But do we want to kill ourselves behind a chair? Because it's draining.
It
really is.
For sure, because you can't do the 6 days a week forever. It would kill you.
No, I do 3 now.
Oh, good.
And
You're like, that's my limit.
That's like a very happy medium. 3 days a week behind the chair. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's enough, especially as a mom. Like, you need to get out of the house and just like having a creative outlet. It feels like an escape and not work. It's kind of nice.
It is nice. Okay, so this is a good one. How do you keep from getting burnt out / emotionally drained?
Oh, this is a good one. I feel like we're going through this now. Like trying to make more time for ourselves and like personal life. Like she has a kid, a husband. Like I just need to stay sane. Recently, we've both been talking about like she starts taking off 1 day a week. It used to be like 7 days a week for her. For me, it's like I just like find little things that I'm like I don't want to get stressed out at home. Like with like personal life things, whether it's like hanging out with friends. It's like having that cutoff and being like, you know what? I'm not going to get on Instagram because I know a client could DM me. I need to have that separation. So like before bed I'm going to read, or like just having like any type of little bit of mini, and there's business hours, and just setting like boundaries. And just setting like boundaries with yourself. You're like, I'm not going to work past this time. I'm not going to like take an extra client and stay later on my days. It's like setting that. Crazy like how just doing that will make your like mindset so much better.
Yeah, and it makes you better for your job too, to like have that downtime. And I also feel like it kind of talks or goes back to what we talked about in the class, where if you're charging your worth, you're not going to resent your job. So make sure you're charging your worth, you're putting in the work, but you have that cutoff and those boundaries, because then you're going to enjoy your job and then be able to go home and like turn it off as well.
And it was getting like really stressful, like just being on 24/7 and like doing it like every single day, but like just being like, today I'm staying home and I'm not posting on Instagram, I'm not applying to clients, like I'm off, like I'm literally off of like everything. It's so nice.
Because like nowadays it's hard to shut off with the phones, and anyone, like you said, a client could DM you at any minute, and they can see now on Instagram. Which I don't like.
Me too. I'm trying to figure out how to turn that off.
I feel like in this industry, or like being a photographer or an esthetician, just like in the service industry, people think that you're just accessible 24/7, and we're human beings too, and you wouldn't expect someone with a 9 to 5 to like still be doing that. They get to clock out and go home, and we should be able to as well.
I actually have an entire video on my channel dedicated to this topic. It's called Holistic Ways to Refill Your Energy as a Stylist. It is part of my Successful Stylist series. I will link it right here, and then I'll also put it in the description box so you can refer back to it later, because you do not want to miss the rest of this video.
Any tips on building social media?
Consistency. Everyone asks me this with like YouTube or Instagram, TikTok, anything. It's being consistent and making sure that you're like putting the passion into it, because I feel like you can tell if someone's just like creating content just to get something out there. You want to be excited about what you're putting out there. Make sure it's either educational or informational, or it's helping. It's not just like the same post over and over again, but consistency and showing up. Not to say you have to be there 24/7. You can have days off, but like, just making sure you don't post once a month and then just like fall off, and just showing your audience you'll be there, especially because Instagram also will push you up in the algorithm if you are consistent. So
do you feel like posting every day, or like just like a couple times a week?
Yeah, it's kind of hard because they've changed it, right?
Yeah,
like I feel
you're
like
supposed to
Instagram's
only
always
post
changing.
once a week now on Instagram.
Once a week?
For like that highest
weird,
engagement, but
though.
then if you're trying to grow, you're supposed to post every day, and you'll have lower engagement, but they'll show it to more people. Like, it makes no sense.
It makes no sense,
I'm
and
like
it changes.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with watching like YouTube videos. Like, there's people who like do all the analytics and stuff, but I never like use them.
For me, it's like finding that happy medium with like, even if it's you're posting 3 to 4 times a week,
Yeah.
or if you're not posting at least on your stories, like being like
every day for
personal
stories.
and
But like feed posts like 3 times a week.
Because the feed posts are
That's
like
a
the
good one.
polished, like refined posts, and then the stories are like behind the scenes where you can have no makeup on and this is the real me, and I'm gonna talk to you guys, and I feel like that makes me connect with people I follow, and I love that. And I don't know about anyone else, but I like scroll through stories before I do the feed.
Oh,
I
me
do
too.
too.
Yeah.
Sometimes I only check stories.
Yes, me
And
too.
then like my feed sometimes I'm like,
Because it's not chronological, and so I'm like, I don't even know what I'm seeing.
This
so.
was like 5
Really?
days ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, consistency, showing yourself, being yourself, not being afraid to do that, because I feel like sometimes you fall into the habit of being like, I have to be like X, Y, and Z to be successful, and you're gonna be successful by showing who you are and being yourself.
Personality is half of being a
Yeah.
stylist.
Right.
Yes, it
it's
is.
like 80%.
And that's
You can
why
rock
people
it.
should never be worried about competition too, because there's so many hairdressers, and you are going to attract the clients that your vibe attracts. And so it's like, this client may be right for that person, this one's right for you, and that's fine. So.
I never worry about competition. Every single person on the earth like gets their hair done.
Right?
I'm like, what's the competition? Like, I can't do everything.
There are enough. Heads of hair to go
Right?
around.
Like, there's enough heads of hair.
Yeah. If anything, like, you're trying to get rid of clients once you get too busy. You're like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
I'm good.
Like, please, now
Who
we're.
can I train to
take over.
Yeah, to take over.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's something you wish you had learned in hair school?
Oh, gosh.
How to tone. Or like,
Right?
It's like the universal.
oh yeah, I never knew what
Yeah.
filling was. She was assisting her one day. She's like, we have to fill in her hair, and I was like, fill it. I was like, and I'm like walking up and I'm like filling it, and I'm like, what is it telling you? Like, I
Fill,
thought we were
not feel.
taking the vibe of it.
That's your accent that gets in the way. It's a different
Yeah.
word.
And I was like,
Southern accent.
yeah.
But I also feel like it's something we talk about in this class we taught today, like taxes and business and just everything that goes into being your own boss. Because in the hair industry, like a lot of girls don't realize that you will be responsible for your own taxes, and that being your own boss means you have a business license and other responsibilities. And I feel like schools don't cover that as much as they should. So yeah, I feel like that needs to be a bigger thing in schools. I was a hair school instructor before I opened my salon, and it was very by the book. Like, they were like, we can't teach our students Olaplex. And I'm like, why? Like, the state doesn't allow it. And I'm like, what? Like, they have like a strict curriculum to be accredited that the state like requires. And if you like, there's just things like that. I think it's changed a little bit since then, but I'm like, oh, that's sad. Like, it needs to be more up to date. And some schools don't teach extensions, and it's just like everything that's now in the hair industry needs to be talked about.
Totally. I feel like there almost should be like a
crash course.
School, almost like a medium school where it's like a teaching salon.
Yeah.
You know,
Real life.
Real life, where you go for like 6 months after you get your license before you go work in a salon.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. Because I think everyone should assist, and so it's almost like that stepping stone after school in between real life.
But
That's a good
lot
idea.
of people, like, they don't even want to touch somebody.
Yeah.
Like, I worked at a big salon years ago, and it was like painful to watch some of these like assistants.
Oh, it's so
They
sad.
just like, and you're like, oh my gosh, girl, like just get into it, you
Yeah.
know? And they're so afraid.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it is. It's
It's
hard because you
crazy.
have an instructor holding your hand throughout school, and then all of a sudden it's like you're thrown out and you have no one to turn to. That's why assisting after school is so important.
School teaches you the ABCs, but like being behind the chair, like being in a salon environment, it teaches you like how to read. We always say that.
Ooh, that's so
I learned that from her.
There you go.
Unfortunately, it's the reality that you just don't learn how to be an actual awesome stylist until you get into a salon and start working hands-on in that salon environment. So that's why it's so important in this industry to take continuing education classes. Look up classes that are in your area, or even if you have to travel to take continuing ed, it's great because you can write off the entire trip. Your flight, your hotel, all of that becomes a tax write-off, and you can have so much fun. You can go with some girlfriends, or just people that you work with, and say you want to go to New York City and just have a trip, stay an extra day. It's awesome.
Do you prefer foils over balayage /
Hell yes.
Oh, I don't think I've only done open air one time, and it was in beauty school, and it was the worst thing that ever happened.
You probably thought it was so good,
it was like literally orange, and I was like, gosh, I'm such an open air expert. Like, I was like, the thing is, like with open air, you can't predict what's gonna happen.
And
It's
you're
like
never
the
gonna get
foil.
lift.
Yeah, it's you can like, I'm like, I know it's gonna happen if it's in that foil.
Yep.
So that's why I like it. And you can get more lift.
Yeah. And like it's fine if it's a brunette that maybe wants a level or two for like a subtle lift, but most of the time you're going to need to be incubated in heat to get any results. So I feel like balayage is kind of on its way out, even though we still use the word. It's like we're still making it look like a balayage in the foil, but it's more of like a foliage and teasy lights and stuff like that.
What do you look for in an assistant?
Someone I can get along with. Someone that I want to be with. I feel like personality is like the biggest thing because like we were saying today, you can teach anyone how to do hair, but you can't teach someone like good customer service or like to be kind or like to you can't teach someone to get along with you. Like don't act like that. Like you're not mothering people. You're like teaching them like a skill. Like that's easier than like trying to like change their personality.
Yeah, especially when you want them to get along with your client too. Like you want them to be able to be like subtle enough that they're not going to be talking about how drunk they were the night before with your clients.
Like
gosh. I've had assistants like that, and I'm like, shut up,
and you're just sitting there like horrified.
Yes.
No.
Like read the room. Yeah, you want to make sure they can be professional but also personable, and they have the skill, but they also have the work ethic. That's a big thing. A go-getter, a self-starter is huge for me because I feel like if I have to sit and tell you what to do all the time, it's gonna get old. But if you just know to like go rinse the bowls or find something to do if you're bored, you know, like I look for that. And I think like across the board in our industry, there are so many girls who do hair because they think it's gonna be easy and they don't have to work a ton. And I'm like, no, this is a lot of work, and I need someone who's willing to put that work in to get to the point where you can then work less, you know, because we all have to get to that point. So.
I was talking to a few salon owners in the class during the break, and they were talking about how it has been so hard to find new stylists and assistants to work for them that a lot of people were just not showing up and coming in their pajamas, coming in late, and all of that stuff. I mean, honestly, if you are a new stylist or if you're looking to be an assistant at a salon and you're looking to grow and learn, just show up. Be there for the stylist you're working for the salon owner you're working for. Stay that extra, 10 to 20 minutes to help clean. A little bit goes a long way when you're starting out in a salon, and the salon owners notice that type of thing. They notice if you come in put together, they notice if you're there on time, they notice if you do that little extra step, cleaning. A little bit goes a long way, and I promise you will go super far in this industry.
Just hired an assistant just about 2 months ago, and she is about to start school, so she's not in school yet. Any advice for somebody that's like about to start school?
I feel like you have to go into it like almost like humbling yourself and being like, I don't know a lot. I grew up in my mom's salon, so I walked in and I was like, I know what developer is. I was like, I know what it. I know. I was like, I know what 30 volume is. Like doesn't mean anything. It's like you learn so much in school, but it's still like not even like a little bit of what you're gonna learn like once you're like really hands-on. And I feel like just being a sponge, going in there with a good attitude, showing up. I feel like no one ever showed up at school.
When I was a hair school instructor, I would have girls hiding in the bathroom because they didn't want to take appointments. So as an instructor, I would say I really respected the girls who were just willing to take anything and everything, even if it was a perm or a men's cut or something they didn't necessarily want to do. And I ended up hiring 2 girls from that school that still work with me. Jenna, she is an educator. She works with us to this day, and I taught her, and I loved her. I saw that work ethic and that determination. So you never know what it could get you. Like, she probably didn't think that being a good student would get her the job she has today, and it did. And also, humble yourself, and also know that as a stylist, even 5-10 years down the road, even being where we're at, we can still learn. I still love to go to classes. It's always evolving and changing. So never think that you've made it, because once you do, that's when you really have it, and you're gonna learn real quick.
Yeah, right. That's when you get that client that you mess up.
Yes.
You're like,
oh, just kidding. It humbles you really fast.
Yeah. I feel like hairstylist is such a humbling job.
It is.
It really is.
You'll think you nailed somebody's hair, and then they text you that night.
And it doesn't mean you don't know what you're doing, because we all have unhappy clients. Literally, I did my friend's hair a couple days ago, and she texted me, and she's like, I think the highlights are a little too high. Can we root it further? And I'm like, yeah. But you can't take that as I don't know what I'm doing. I messed up.
Right.
It's she just wanted something a little different now that she's lived with it for a few days, And I think that it's important for everyone to remember that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
On that note.
That was so great. Yes,
it
was so good to hang out with you.
Did we get a video of us doing this? Yeah. Did we get some? Okay.
Oh, of course he did.
Let's go, let's leave, let's hit, let's go. Holy hit, let's go, let's go.
Is it on? Yeah, it's on.
Yes. Can you see you in the frame? Yeah.
I think so. I'm not as popular as you guys.
Oh, whatever.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Every time I reshare your stuff, people are always like,
Really?
I'm like, me too.
Yeah. I look at some of my old videos and I'm like,
Oh my, me too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Literally.
Even like a year ago.
Filming, sometimes you overthink. I'm like, I'm on camera, I gotta make this foil look good, and I'm like dropping stuff. I'm like, I normally don't like drop
When the
this many
camera's
things.
on,
Yeah.
you just like your hands start shaking. You're like,
Mom
"Gosh."
does that.
Mom
She
does
breaks
that.
out training videos and stuff, and she'll say, oh, like that's like her signature thing.
Yeah, we have like a whole like footage of like blooper reels. Just like
Oh, I love that.
so funny.
That's so cute. So I brought you guys a Christmas card.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Your hand, is this your handwriting?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I can't write.
No, I don't say that. That is so cute.
That is so cute.
Wait, what's her name?
Ruby.
Oh,
I've seen her, but I've
love
never
that.
seen him.
Yeah,
He's
that's
so
my
cute.
husband.
You guys
He's
are
hot, girl. Go.
He's like, maybe I'll marry him.
I know. He is.
Oh wait, even cuter. Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
I love it.
I love it.
Let's go. Let's leave.